NFL Draft, man. It's time. We are literally, what's today? Tomorrow will be the 27th. Yeah, we're literally like 4 weeks to the day away from this thing. So
This is where I shine, man. You
the
guys
Eagles
can have your regular season wins and everything that actually matters in the sport. Give me this day. Give
Yeah.
me this day.
Yeah, a lot of people say so. Real quick, this offseason, by the way, has had more Pro Bowl, like cumulative Pro Bowl appearances amongst all the players dealt
What about
than
Super
any
Bowl?
offseason combined dating back to 1994. That's wild to me. So there's been crazy movement. He says, you say Super Bowl appearances?
Yeah, I haven't looked at a draft board, so I got somebody at quarterback that's named number 12. That's his name.
Oh, yeah.
His name is number 12. Sorry. It's my birthday. It's 12 o'clock.
Hey,
shout out
happy
to number
birthday,
12 at
man.
12 o'clock.
Birthday, bro.
Happy birthday to me. We got Tom Brady at quarterback. Let him be annoyed by me. Go ahead. Continue. Go ahead. Super Bowl favorites. Go ahead.
Back-to-back Elite Eight finals runs for the Hogs, too. That's very impressive.
Yeah. Haven't seen a draft board. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Chris, to you, the Eagles fan, my man's decked out in Philly shit right now. It is what it is. All right, he was almost a really cool guy.
They chose me, bro. I had no
He's
say.
Yeah,
never
that
been a
life-
good.
that-
He's cool, but he's never been a good person.
That's
Like
fine.
he's never been a wholesome human. He's just
I
like
know
cool.
my role.
So,
I know my role.
talk about what it's like to have 3 first-round picks, because I'm jealous. I envy that right
That's
now.
insane.
It's gonna be fun, man. So like, I've told you guys a little bit on the side. I've never had. So to brief the audience, we being Philly, we have 15, 16, and 19. And one of those picks was acquired from the Colts in the Carson Wentz trade.
That's not just
Thank
before you go, Chris. That's just not 3 first-round picks. Premium
right.
Yeah,
first-round
that's
picks. That's
not top 10, but
crazy.
yeah, you should be able to get quality starters.
Most NFL drafts
Yeah.
have between 22 and 24 like genuine first-round players. Like most GMs will say they have
right. 20
no
guys.
more than 24
Yeah.
true first-round grades. So the Eagles fall
That's
within
crazy.
well within
all
that. Yeah, for all 3 of their picks.
So, to get back to Philly, I told you guys this year, man, I've never had more fun not only rooting for the Eagles, who were pegged by most to be a bottom 5 team in the NFL. That was cool to watch us make the playoffs in and of itself. But then to root for the demise of 2 other franchises while you're doing that was probably one of the more fun regular seasons that I've had, with those teams capping it off by not making the playoffs. So that was a blast. That's why we're sitting at 15,
Who are you rooting
16,
against?
and 19. So I was rooting against the Colts.
Yeah.
My dog Carson Wentz, like, it hurt, but that collapse against Jacksonville, man, I wasn't super upset. Right? That gave us a pick. They didn't make the playoffs,
Insane.
and then I was rooting against Miami. So we got Miami's first rounder when they traded. They went from 12 to 6.
6. Yeah.
I think we swapped right there, and then so that's kind of what that looked like. And they ended up netting Jalen Waddle.
Or actually, it was. Did they go from? I forget the order exactly, because the Cowboys went from 10 to 12. That's where we took Micah, but I don't remember where the Miami came from. I forget, but it doesn't matter.
So I think there was a trade with Sanford in there too, the Trey Lance thing, and then Mike ended up happening because Philly traded up from 12 to 10 with Dallas. Dallas went back 2 spots. We got our receiver, and to go from 12 to 10, actually we used the 3rd round pick that we acquired in the Carson Wentz trade, because we got a 1 and a 3. So we gave Dallas that.
And then that pick turned into Osa Odigizua, which is also kind of interesting for Cowboys fans.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun, man. I mean, obviously I've been hawking mock draft since the day we were eliminated, and probably before, to be quite honest with you. So that's kind of been a treat in and of itself. I think.
So top three draft needs for Philly right now. What is, like, if you're GM, and based on everything you know, if you're in that war room come draft day, 15, 17, and 19, right?
15, 16, and 19.
15, 16, and 19.
Yeah.
What is? You've got 3 positions circled. What does Philly need help with the most?
I would say defensive line.
Can't ever have too many of those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with the way Philly does stuff. I would say defensive line, cornerback, and linebacker. Now, I want to put an asterisk on linebacker because, for anyone that doesn't know, historically, Howie Roseman will not. They will not sniff a linebacker in the first round. They don't draft.
It's like the Cowboys and interior defensive lineman.
or safeties. Yeah, like
Yeah.
safety. Okay, safety. I got to put safety in there because we're starting Anthony Harris and Marcus Epps right
about
now.
to say.
Might be the worst safety group. Yeah, it might be the worst safety group in the NFL. So, in my opinion, it's all on the defensive side of the ball. Could they use another receiver? Sure, but running back, they're a dime a dozen these days. You can find a guy to complement Miles Sanders. He's in a contract here. Maybe let him walk. You can get a running back later in the draft. The O-line shirt up, right? You got Mailata locked in. You got Landon Dickerson, who, if he stays healthy, he's going to be a stud. Jason Kelsey's back for a year, so maybe they view like center or interior line as maybe a long-term need.
I have seen Tyler Linderbaum, the center out of Iowa, mocked to Philly more and more lately.
And I can say this with certainty: Philly likes to take a guy a year early to fill the need a year early, so that. And the reason people listen that teams do that, when you have a clear and obvious need, you kind of pigeonhole yourself in the following draft, and teams can kind of use your desire and wants and needs, for lack of a better term. And
they will use it against you.
And they'll extract more value from you than you'd previously like to give up.
Yep.
So I think Philly's just in a good spot, man. I would be shocked. People have been saying this all year, and I fully believe it. I would be shocked if they make all three of those picks. I don't see it happening. I'm not going to tell you they're going to trade up or down one way or another. Go ahead.
Would you be willing to trade the 15 and the 16 or that 20th, whatever pick you have, right? Just two of them, right? To move up in the draft and get the Hamilton kid out of Notre Dame.
Kyle Hamilton, the safety?
Yes.
So I've heard a lot of confusing stuff about him. Like, based on people that I listen to that are plugged in, that have connections, they say, like, they don't really know how to deploy him. Like, it's going to take a very specific defensive coordinator with a plan of how exactly they want to utilize him. It's the same exact thing that happened with Isaiah Simmons. I said
Isaiah Simmons when I saw him. I said it. Y'all know I said it.
Yeah.
I said he's a 6'4" linebacker. Is he really a safety? You don't know.
Right.
But I would say to get even like a Sauce Gardner, would you be willing to trade
Sauce Gardner for sure?
Two of those picks to get an elite DB.
Yeah, I think cornerbacks at a premium, and you obviously lock him in for 5 years. We've got Darius Slay on the outside, but you got to find the future at that position. For Sauce, yes, to answer your question. For Kyle Hamilton, probably not.
And
I'm probably underselling. I'm probably underselling Kyle Hamilton because when you go around people in the know, I know his 40 time has kind of scared people off. I think he ran like 4.59 unofficial at the combine.
Yeah.
To your point, I don't know how he's going to be deployed. I know exactly how Sauce Gardner is going to get deployed.
Yeah.
For example, I would trade up for Jordan Davis in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'll go get Jordan Davis in a heartbeat.
Yep. And it's a lot of that Sands, like, to kind of, I don't know, kind of put a bow on that question for you is like, you're trading up 2 first-round picks. You're only going to do that for like the premier positions in football, which are quarterback, defensive end, left tackle, and a corner. Right? Yeah. You can't have too many corners. You can't have too many pass rushers, and then you got to have the guy on the left side to protect your the face of your franchise.
An elite DB. I should have phrased it. An elite DB.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
To touch on the fourth position you named there, quarterback.
Yep.
Right? Like, nobody in this draft, and to take it back to your question, Sands, I think Howie Roseman is much more likely to try to trade back with one of those picks and get out of the first round, and maybe you slide back once from 19 to 24 and let some guy get a quarterback.
Yeah, of course.
Similar to the way the Bears just did this past year with the Giants, and then maybe you trade back again to get out of the first round. I think this is the year for Jalen Hurts, and I would bet my bottom dollar I would think that Howie Roseman is much more likely to trade back and try to acquire an additional one for next year, so that they can get ammo to really go get their guy versus trading up to go get, a defensive tackle. Maybe Jordan Davis is only a 2-down player. I'm not real sure how much the organization want to go up and get that type of guy, but I would think we'd be more inclined to trade back and kind of hold assets for the future. Because
Chris,
you're talking about this money, man. Without a quarterback, you don't have a damn shot. Nothing else matters. Like, you don't have a damn shot. So
that's literally where I was going next with this. I think the Eagles are 100% going to trade one of those picks and have an extra one next year as well.
Right.
It's not anything. It's just like the Browns and making calls about everybody's going to call Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, sure. To make sure.
If you think you just got to do your due diligence. So
Absolutely.
in the Eagles case, they think they've got their guy in Jalen Hurts, right?
Yep.
They would like to believe that, but
Yep.
they have to have insurance on that decision just for the if it doesn't happen to work out the way they plan, they have leverage for next season to make moves and go and get their next guy, right? So
Right,
you've got to have that availability.
And Philly in particular, does every organization value the quarterback? Yes. But, like, you're looking at a team who won our only Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, right? Like, you're looking at a team who, right when you give Carson Wentz a max contract, they turn around and take a quarterback in the second round in Jalen Hurts. I remember sitting on my couch when they made that selection. I was shocked.
Yep.
Like, absolutely shocked with where Carson's mental was probably already at the time, coming off what Nick Foles did.
Yep.
The year after that, Clowney headhunts, takes him out of the game. He throws
in the playoffs.
He throws for 9 yards in a playoff game. Like, the guy has never played real meaningful football, and you go take a quarterback in the second round. And everyone's asking him, why would you invest that sort of capital in a position where, if all goes well, that guy never touches the field? And it just goes back to Philly's everlasting pursuit of if you don't have a top guy at quarterback, you do not have a chance, man. Like, you don't have a chance in this league to win anything meaningful. So
and it's also their philosophy that you touched on too, getting ahead of what decisions you might be potentially tasked with the following year.
So every people in the know, especially ownership, loves Jalen Hurts. They want him to be that guy because he's got all the intangibles. That's a guy that you can build a roster around. Yeah, he's got that charisma, that moxie, that leadership. But there is no chance if you asked Howie Roseman or guys close to him, is Jalen Hurts the guy?
He can't say that definitively.
You're not able to say yes. They're going to give you an I hope so. Right.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the end game here, man. So in my opinion, I think 2 of those picks get cashed in. And hopefully, the interesting caveat is, right, you've got to have a willing trade partner. It's easy to just say, okay, Philly's got to trade back. Yeah. But we know how these drafts go, man. Like, if there's not a quarterback in all likelihood, who's giving up a 1 the following year to go get a receiver, right? Like, so if these quarterbacks go way before people think they are, and it's probably going to happen, like if Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis go off the board in the top 10, which they likely will, whether it be a team currently in the top 10 or somebody that trades up with them, there's no trade to be made. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how Philly navigates that. But 3 first rounders, man, I'm geeking out. Like, we've got all the possibilities in the world.
Landon, what do you think the Cowboys like top tier need? Obviously, you got the tackle situation with Leo. I want to see where do you think y'all go? Yeah, where do what's your mindset on what you need the most? Not just like all the positions of need, because we know the Cowboys need a lot to fill. Okay, we know they need a lot of positions to fill.
We got a couple.
Your
holes.
most important.
Most important is 100% without question offensive line. We got to have like as of right now, if we were to go out and play football tomorrow, we don't have a left guard.
And that being a staple, the way that y'all play as well, the offense, and you could. That's not. I hate to say it. That's not a quote unquote staple in everybody's offense. Like the Chiefs got lucky with drafting 2 gems in the draft with their O line, so it isn't a staple in everybody's offense to have a great O line. For me, it seems that is a actual staple in y'all's offense. Yeah,
it has been because of the way that they've able to just the way the hit rate at that position, right? We get a 20-year-old Tyron Smith who's an all-pro for every year that he's healthy. The same thing with Zach Martin. We drafted him in 2014. He's best right guard in football. It's like it's not sexy, but for the Cowboys it works. And so for whatever reason, Will McClay, keep doing whatever you're doing, my man, because there's a long track record now of us outside of a couple dumb picks that were influenced by assets who are no longer within the organization, right?
Yeah.
Will McClay doing his job. We're not going to talk about Rob Marinelli pushing for Taco Charlton and Tristan Hill to fit his system, right? That's the most egregious example. Yeah. That's the most egregious example of drafting based on need as opposed to the best player available approach. Like you want to have
like your coaches to overrule scouts. Like, and that happens with every team. Like I'm not here to shit on Dallas. Like the Jalen Reagor pick is a prime example, man. Like
it happens, man.
They felt like they needed a field stretcher. Justin Jefferson can only play in the like. Don't get me started, man. I'll end up in tears on this podcast. Really not trying to do that tonight. So, but yeah, keep going, Leonard. I think
to answer
a good place to start, man.
Yeah,
Tyron
that's
Smith's getting
the
up there in age and his durability. Like maybe like
dude. They were
might-
talking about trading him before last season started. I mean, it's
Right.
been a topic of discussion for 4 years now. I mean, is his neck
Yep.
going to hold up? Is he going to miss 5 games a year because of he's got a pinched nerve, he's got a slipped disc. He's just been through the ringer, man. But God, when he's out there, he's he's a top 5
incredible.
player at that position. Yeah, and he got abused in the playoff game against the Niners. So that left us with a sour taste in our mouth, which again is part of the reason why. Now we lost Lau Collins. Connor Williams gets let go as a free agent. He signs with Cincinnati, right? Tyler
Miami.
Biadasz is still
Miami,
as
right?
unproven as they come at the center position. So you've got 3 legitimate holes there. Right tackle, which they think they have their answer in Terrence Steele, who, mind you, was a 6th-round pick. So I'm not 100% positive that that's the right decision, but the Cowboys think they are.
He played
Okay,
good ball, to
that
be
concerns me with no depth. If not him, then what? Josh Ball from Marshall, who's a 7th-round pick because of off-the-field stuff? Is that what we're going into next season with? We have nobody at left guard. Connor Williams is gone, which I think is a good thing because I think he's just out of position in the first place. He's more of an athletic guy trying to play strong and doesn't really have the ability to anchor the interior. He was an undersized college left tackle too, by the way. So I don't know how that's going to work out for him in Cincy. I hope it goes well because he's a former Horn. But I think best case scenario for the Cowboys in round 1 at 24 is an offensive lineman, whether that be Kenyon Green, who seems to be the most likely, Zion Johnson, who I think is the best player at that position that can step in and be the guy right away. I don't think he gets to 24, but that would be my dream scenario.
Yep. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Well,
think it's pretty
I'll
easy
give
to peg it with
mine.
Dallas.
I'll give
Yeah, let's
mine.
hear it.
I don't.
Like,
I don't
go
have
ahead.
I don't
What
have a
else do you wanna add to your-
dream. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just what else do you want to add to your Tom Brady bullshit? Led everybody's coming back for bullshit. Like, go ahead, man. Like, whatever, bro.
Yo,
Fine.
so
That makes me sick, bro.
he's so,
This guy literally
he's
makes me
so
physically
mad
ill.
that we're good. He's so
Hey,
mad
at least you're not
that
a Colts fan, Chris. It could be
we-
worse, bro.
True.
we
And, like,
truly.
Also, Sands, remember our only Super Bowl win ever came over Tom Brady. Like I have a deep rooted hate for that man. Like I can't stand him. Like,
Yeah,
go take
and
care
then
of
like
your
one
kids,
of
man. Get
his
outta here.
7 rings beat Donovan McNabb.
And you guys,
You owe it to yourself to
You beat-
watch Man in the
you
Arena.
beat Donovan.
It's
You
goated.
beat Donovan. You guys also beat us. You were up 30-0 last year in the playoffs. Like, can't stand the dude. But go ahead, man.
We had-
Rich get richer.
We had Philly on fire. Like we really,
He's so
we really had him wanting to burn Jalen Hurts jerseys at the end of that playoff game. It was so sad. Chris actually went to Tampa for that game. He sat through every snap of that game.
I saw it in person. bro.
It's sad. I love the guy. He's one of my
person,
best friends, if not my best friend in the world. Oh, it's sad to see him like that.
It's disgusting.
But honestly, I think we have some interior, a 3 technique for the Bucs. I think we have to get a 3 technique because Ndamukong Suh is getting old. Vita Vea, I mean Willie Golson, how much is he going to give you at the end of the
So,
day? I think we just
Suh-
re-signed him.
Is Sue a free agent?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And I
So
mean,
who-
but
who
I
have-
think
Who have you guys lost? Like
Carlton
of-
Davis.
Jordan Whitehead,
Carlton Davis re-signed.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
They got
Carlton
that. Okay.
Davis
Jordan Whitehead,
had left.
who I've seen. I
got-
saw him on Twitter during the year talking about, "Hey man, like I'm the glue back there." Like
Yeah.
Jordan Whitehead was
ama-
upset, man, because he didn't get talked about at all with that defense.
Y'all can go look at the tweets. You can go look it up. I tweeted before every single my playoff preview against the Eagles was the most impactful player on this defense the last 5 weeks is Jordan Whitehead, and he's probably going to do that in the Eagles game, and he was.
And he balled
Against
out,
the
right?
Jets, he had 7 tackles and a pick in the first 7 minutes of the game or something. The first 2 drives.
Who he now plays for, which is kind of funny. but-
Yeah, who he now plays for. But yeah, I
Should've
think
been
we have to
Eagle,
get some
that's fine.
You can dream all you want. He's a great young player though out of Pittsburgh. I think we gotta get some secondary help if we can in the first round. I don't know what's available there. Once again, like I know it's and I've always said this, I defer to you guys when it comes to NFL draft prospects. I do my own research. I do my own reading articles and mock drafts, but I don't do it so in depth like you guys. So I don't know who's out there for the 30th pick in the draft. I don't know who's out there, but I know Jameson Williams is available, but I know we just got Russell Gage, so I don't know if we're going to want to fill that void there. And mostly with Chris Godwin getting an extension, we're not going to go with a receiver, in my opinion. They're talking about running back again.
Yeah.
They're talking about another running back after signing Leonard Fournette. Still, they're talking about it.
I can't see that.
And it's
I just kinda follow the
frustrating.
money. Yeah, I can't see
Yeah,
that.
but you say you can't see it. You say you can't see it, but Jason Light loves to draft running backs. Keyshawn Vaughn. Right after
Ronald
we draft
Jones.
Ronald Jones,
Yep.
like, what are we
Ronald
doing?
Jones was the
Tyler
second
Johnson.
rounder too, right?
Mhm.
Yes, he
Ronald
was.
Jones,
But
yeah.
it looked. But you have to really. When you see the potential of Ronald Jones now, we're not
He was now
even.
with the
Me and
Chiefs.
Landon talked about this. It's just sad to see a dude that when he gets in the game, you see some one-cut explosive potential, and it's just
Yeah.
overshadowed because he does have flaws. Tom Brady's a running back that can catch.
I love his game.
He
though.
cannot-
I really do.
Ronald Jones literally cannot catch a football. So
Yeah.
I would say that we need a 3 technique, and to me, that's about it. We got Logan Ryan just signed with us, and he's probably going to be a diverse guy. We got Mike Edwards, who's been there forever from Kentucky. He's been there for a couple years now. He knows the system. Huge playmaker this year, getting picks as a
They're clearly
backup.
high
I think he
on.
had 3 or 4 picks. And we just got guys that have system. We still got Sean Murphy Bunting. We still got Jamel Dean's trash, hot, garbage ass out there. And we got Carlton Davis. I hope we get another corner. I truly do. Because I think we
I can
need
see
another
corner.
lockdown guy beside Carlton. Because unfortunately for Carlton, I feel like we would have well, fortunately for us, I feel like we would have lost Carlton this year if he plays the whole year. Because in my heart of hearts, I've seen him play too much. He is one of the best corners in the NFL. Carlton Davis is one of the best corners in the NFL right now. Top
I think
7,
like,
whatever you want to
simply
do.
I think simply put, you would have lost him if Brady didn't come back.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Because then you see a
Did
lot
y'all
of...
talk? Did y'all talk about Ali Marpet?
No, I don't. Why do we have to talk about him?
Well, you're talking about guys that haven't.
I was kidding. Yeah, a guy
Oh.
that retired in the prime of his career that is an all-pro guard that is essential to the team. Yeah, we need a left guard, but I think
Hey,
with the
I
addition
wouldn't be
of
shocked
Shaq
if he
Mason,
comes back either. That wouldn't
He did
surprise
get
me.
Shaq Mason, who's a baller. Now,
yeah,
so you lost Marpet to retirement, and
Kappa.
Did Jensen? You lost Kappa to Cincy. Jensen
Yeah.
came back though. Jensen's
Jensen came
Yeah?
back.
Okay.
Yeah. So we really haven't lost much, to be honest.
Right,
We haven't lost
so
much.
So you replaced Ali Marpet with Shaq Mason. Yeah.
Shaq, yeah. It's a good
For now.
good fit
For now.
For
Yeah.
now,
Or you? Yeah.
or replace Kappa with him for.
Yeah. Or Kappa. Yeah.
I think that with the Bucs, you're basically adding on to a loaded roster. Like these fans tweeting that we need a receiver is kind of bananas. Just because,
You have Tom Brady. Anything else is a luxury.
and I'm saying
That's
we
what
just
I'm
got
saying.
Russell Gage, and you're saying you got Chris Godwin hamstring issues, but other than that, they haven't had injury problems. Like Mike Evans is 6'5", 230. Yeah, he's gonna have some fucking ankle issues. Yeah, get over it. Other than that, I mean, we haven't really had any injury issues. So, yeah, Jameson Williams would be cool to add on to the pile for the next quarterback to show up. But once again, Jason Light said he's not out of the quarterback market, which I think is a fugazi-ass statement by him.
That's probably him. That's him wanting teams to think, hey, we might take a guy. Like, let me dangle our first rounder if you want to come back in.
Or we're gonna get
option
Baker.
on a quarterback. Yeah.
Did you see that report?
Yes. I did not.
There was a report that said that apparently Tampa Bay and Baker have been in talks for him to be the backup to Tom Brady. It's insane to me because there's no way Baker Mayfield has gone from arguably a top 12 quarterback, arguably, to a backup.
Yeah, his
in
fall
the
has
NFL.
been precipitous, man. His fall has been precipitous, man.
That's crazy.
I definitely feel for Baker because him playing through all the injuries that he had last year actually destroyed him. When in reality, he was just trying to tough it out in a contract year.
Landon, the comment about Baker was, I don't know if you saw this, there was some tweet or report from a legit source in the NFL that said both camps were open, the Bucs and Baker, for Baker being a backup to Tom.
I didn't see that. No. Was that recent? Like within the last couple
Yeah,
days?
it was a couple days ago. Yeah, and
Okay.
the thing also is that Baker's draft stock has gone down, quote unquote, or his trade stock, sorry, His trade value has gone down, quote unquote, because no team's going to trade for a dude they know the other team doesn't need. So why would they trade?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the hell is the point? Like, why would you trade for Baker when you know he's gone? There's no point.
Yeah, I guess it's just to address an imminent need for you right now, just to ensure that you make sure that he's a part of your organization. But
Yeah,
I do totally get that. I mean,
And like
he's a serviceable player, man. Obviously, if you're the Browns, you're doing the right thing by going and getting Deshaun Watson. They're two
He's
totally
an
different
upgrade
caliber. Yeah,
for 60% of the league. Period.
More than that, I would
he's
say.
an upgrade. Yes.
More than that, I would say.
Yes.
And-
I'm
and
saying
we've
he's
seen-
I just said borderline top 12 quarterback. Borderline.
Yeah, for
Arguably.
sure.
Whatever.
and we've seen, like, to a much lesser degree, like, you look at someone like Mitch Trubisky, man. Like, sometimes the best thing you can do is out of sight, out of mind for a year, and then your value, all the people turn back around. They're like,
All
maybe
the
he's got his head on straight, and now
This
now
guy
he's
was
about
the
to get his
second
step on the
overall pick.
field.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Mitch
Now
didn't
he's
step
about
on the field.
didn't do anything. Like, he had some garbage time reps under Josh Allen, and now Pittsburgh's treating him like a stopgap guy with hopes that he can become the quarterback of the future, perhaps. Like, you just never know. And then, obviously, Baker is in your possession. If Tom comes back again and plays 5 more years, which at this point I'm not ruling anything out because the guy's a freak show that absolutely hates his family at this point. Like, then you become the team.
He does.
That has
I'm
Baker
down
Mayfield.
with it.
Then you become the team that has Baker Mayfield, and all the reports are positive about how he's handled the role, and then you become the team that can go get capital for a guy that is no longer going to bring you value. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind the swing on that at all. And honestly, what better guy to learn from than Tom Brady for Baker? So, to me, that could be a win-win. The salary, I'm just not sure about. Like, it's $18 million to a backup quarterback, which is a hell of a lot of money to a team that's already up against it on the cap. I know we say the cap's like fake; you can manipulate it, but
It is fake.
I don't know.
Well, you could.
Can really
you
move
could
that
always
number.
you could always bonus all of it. You could bonus all of it, just like the Browns did this year.
Yeah,
to
you could do some sleazy Browns shit. Yeah,
eat the cap for next year. If you think this is Tom Brady's last season, bonus all that $18 million to Baker Mayfield and hit the ground running. You know, there's the cap. The cap, as far as the now is concerned, is 100% a myth. But the cap, as far as the future is concerned, is 100% a very, very real thing. Like, you're always going to have to pay for that money somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm.
That you can only kick that can so far down the road. Like, that has to eventually be accounted for. But as far as the term salary cap hell is very overstated. Like, teams are always going to have the ability to create the necessary cap space to go and make whatever moves they want to make in the free agency world or the trade market or whatever. They're always going to have the ability, regardless of how many millions they are in debt, as far as over the cap is concerned. There is a way to either bonus money, restructure contracts. There's always a way to free up enough current money now to get done what you want to try to do for the right now.
To piggyback off that, like, Landon says that, one, because it's possible, and two, quite frankly, because it literally has to happen. Like, by the time the new year comes into play, you have to be above. You cannot be negative in the cap. The Saints were $75 million in the hole,
Mm-hmm.
and they got
Shout out
over the
Sean Payton.
cap. They got over the cap for the new year. Like, the Saints can do that in one off season. The cap is
Anything
a myth,
is
to your point,
possible.
like in
Word
the
to
current.
Kevin Garnett.
Like,
In the
anybody can
current,
do it,
right?
man.
Exactly. That's it. That's all. Right.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. It's cool, man. That's one of the things I'm most fascinated by. It's just like the business of all.
I love that side of it, man. It's fun.
It's fun. It's so much fun.
And like, I know we talked draft for a little bit, but like, it's hard for you to jump in on this, Sands, because when you're coming off like a run like that in a Super Bowl 2 years ago, like I remember we won the bowl, we were picking at 32. It's like,
you're disinterested.
What do we need though? Like, we just won the chip. We're about to go back to back to back to back.
That's what's
like,
so funny. I was hawking mock drafts until Tom Brady signed. I'm not shitting you. 2 weeks ago, I literally stopped looking at mock drafts.
Yeah.
Because why would I look?
Like, we picked 32 that year, and we ended up trading down. Baltimore took Lamar Jackson in the last pick of the first round to get the fifth-year option, and good on them. Look
That's
at
smart.
them balling, but
That's smart.
I would
Smart
say
business.
this though. Another thing, just to brag on the Bucs before we probably get into a Tyreek Hill trade. Jason Light, you talk about the Cowboys hitting on every pick except for a couple dumb ones. Jason Light has, like, screw the Tom Brady stuff, right? And I know that sounds crazy. Forget the Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. Take those out. What he has done in acquisitions and drafting has been absolutely incredible when people wanted his job done, including me, about 4 years ago. You have to realize. I begged for him to get gone.
He wouldn't.
Well,
have been
that's
able to
the
make any
beauty
these
of
moves if Brady didn't save his career. Like, Tom Brady is the reason he's employed.
Yeah, and then the thing is,
also, I think you got to give him credit though, right? Because he took a swing. His job was on the line. He was the one that went out and said, screw it. Let's go get Tom Brady. Let's go get Antonio Brown. Let's bring Gronk back. Like, he could get fired. So,
and like,
I'm picturing Jerry and Stephen Jones when I say this. Sometimes it's a badass thing to have at your disposal to be a general manager
who's fighting for
that
his life.
Has somebody breathing down his neck. Absolutely.
Yeah. People don't talk about it. People forget 1 point, Chris, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
We signed Shaq Barrett to a $4 million contract, and he proceeded to lead the league in sacks the next year. People forget that actually happened. We signed Shaq Barrett to, I think, a $3.8 million contract. So
and
Jason Light's killing him.
I think, not to ride the fence, but I definitely fall on both sides of the Brady thing because I don't want to sit here and give too much credit personally to Jason Light for quote unquote taking a stab at Tom Brady. It's like
right, that's true.
Who wouldn't? 32 teams called.
That's easy, bro. Like if Brady wants to come here, I'm damn sure ain't telling his ass no. But it's also like, and it sounds crazy to say this, if you guys remember, Tom Brady's coming off a pick six to end the game in the playoffs, and he there was talk like is he was on
done.
The way out? Like is he done? Like maybe he's done. When in reality, his best player was Julian Edelman on one knee. Like it's just, and you put him in Tampa with all them damn weapons, and you're reminded, like this guy is the GOAT after all. Like my bad, I forgot. So it's like it seems clear now, but maybe back then it's not like it wasn't a surefire thing. Yep. Even throughout the season, man, like Tampa won the Super Bowl on the road. They didn't play a single game until they got to the bowl. Card. So yeah, there were
times. Yeah, wild card is exactly right. Like you said, Julian Edelman on one knee was at times his best player in that final year in New England. How many times, like in the couple years before that, was Julian Edelman either suspended or hurt? And Chris Hogan was the best receiver on that team.
He's making
Kimbrell Tompkins.
Right.
Dodson.
That's what I'm saying.
I can go through all his weapons. We're trash.
Or lack thereof.
N'Keal Harry was a bust of a first-round pick. Who else? There's countless others.
God.
They brought in Josh Gordon, who was kind of like a rental for a time. I don't even remember if he was productive in New England.
When Tom Brady gets guys like that, they literally ball out. Like Josh Gordon had a couple games with the Patriots where you're like, hey, yo.
Vintage
Josh Gordon, Tom
2013
Brady.
Cleveland.
They even gave Chad Ochocinco a chance. People forget he was with the Patriots, and then apparently he did not know the playbook because he was just used to running his own routes. And
Antonio Brown, bro.
That's
Antonio
AB.
Brown.
Yeah.
AB played with Tom Brady.
Balled out his first game.
Yeah. He played like one game.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what the hell happened, but
that hit from Vontez Burfict happened. That's what happened.
Yeah, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah, nothing was the same.
No.
So that's literally the line of delineation. Was that moment right there for Antonio Brown, bro? I don't mean to laugh, but it's like
top five.
I feel like in a lot of ways he kind of brings it on himself, but I don't know if that's intentional or what. I feel sorry.
It's a top five wideout in history right there. Who's just completely gone off the rails.
Yeah. Okay. So, speaking of wide receivers, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, two of arguably the best. 3 or 4 receivers in the game.
And
all of a
they
sudden,
were in the same division.
They were. Those guys. Their teams decide, okay, well, maybe you're not quite that important to us. You know, like we think we can win without you.
Maybe
what do you guys make sense of that? Like that whole, okay, Obviously, there's no Davante Adams in this upcoming draft. Obviously, there is no Tyreek Hill in this upcoming draft. Those are two of the best to do it in our generation. So, what do you guys make of that decision? Is it strictly we just can't afford to have this much money locked up between only two players in the case of A-Rod and Davante with their new contracts, and then obviously Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and the money he was asking for? Is it that, or do they think that is receiver becoming that much of a just an embarrassment of riches now?
Right.
What's going on?
Let me get to the layman's terms point, and then I'll let you just dissect with y'all's football shit. This is what I think of it. I think that Aaron Rodgers is a scumbag. That's point number one to all this. He knew he was going to sign. He was going to sign this contract. Yeah, whatever. He should have
Watch your mouth.
Can we stop?
Man,
okay,
boy.
I'm not making this a point. Can we stop giving the MVP while the playoffs are going or they're over? If you're not going to consider the playoffs, just do what the NBA does. Hand him the trophy the first 2 games of the playoffs and call it quits. Give it to him at halftime or before the game starts. Anyways. Aaron Rodgers is a scumbag. He knew Davante was going through his contract talks. Oh, last dance, blah, blah, blah. And then he takes the contract knowing they will not pay Davante because we talked about this on the last pod. Packers are cheap. We know they're not.
Yep, you did say that. You did say that for sure.
Packers are cheap, and then he gets traded. Oh, who would have known? Hunter was right again. Whoa. But that was the thing. And also, people forget Davante Adams has been begging not to be franchise tagged for 3 years. He kind of forget the news goes by and we play the seasons out, and Davante Adams has been asking for 3 years not to get franchise tagged, and he got franchise tagged, so he left. And the Raiders were always in the mix for Davante since the first rumor we had because of Derek Carr.
What is that, Hunter? You're right. Yep, because they were college teammates at Fresno.
Yeah, and roommates.
Mm-hmm.
And now he lives beside him.
And right now they're neighbors.
Yes, he just bought the house beside him. So I think that's quite interesting.
So sick, dude.
I think the Packers are gonna be hot. I think the Packers are gonna look really. It's either gonna make Aaron Rodgers not rely on one guy so much and make him more plotted out and kind of actually read a defense. I know he reads defenses. I'm just saying in those big situations like that throw against the 49ers where he just heaves it on 3rd and long that determined the game.
Yeah.
To Davante in quadruple coverage, what are you doing? And on the Tyreek Hill side of things, I think the Chiefs, it is money-wise. I started thinking about this. I kind of jumped the gun too early on my podcast. You have to remember, Patrick Mahomes has a 10-year contract. That $45 million is going to look like a bargain in a couple years.
Yeah, it was a 10-year extension, so it was he's technically got 11 years left.
So you're going to look at that contract.
And it already is a bargain. It already is a bargain.
Exactly.
It is a bargain. Yep.
The years go on, you're going to go, oh my God, Patty's only getting paid $45 million, and this other random guy that's at Alabama as a 3rd string right now is going to be making $58 million, wherever the hell he's going to be making. You're going to be like, holy hell, they're going to reconstruct it or whatever.
People saying Dak makes too much money are idiots.
Exactly. It's all about the market, and then the market's going to go up and all that. But I think that I talked about this is I want to see what the Chiefs do. You either think one of two things. You either think they lost their backyard, so they're going to get not shut down, but kind of be limited, or you think the other is going to happen where they're going to have more structure and Patty Mahomes is going to be a quote-unquote real quarterback, if you want to say that, even though he is the best in the world.
Yeah.
And it's hard to doubt the best in the world.
I don't think you can take that backyard mentality out of him, though. That's just who he is.
That's what I'm saying.
Improv is what makes him him.
And if you think that, then you're like, okay, then everybody can work in the backyard football thing, right?
Okay. I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? But Tyreek Hill, that play against the Browns where it's probably their most season where he throws off his back foot, throws it behind Josh Johnson's shoulder, and he just runs for a touchdown. That is the epitome of the Chiefs defense, and I think they lose that a bit when you take that away and you actually get to hard. You were doing Travis Kelce, you get to do it times 2, considering Tyreek Hill is not there. So
It feels like Reek has one of those a week, bro. Like, honestly.
It does. It really does.
That's
just
what I'm
getting
saying.
behind somebody and Pat making an unbelievable
I didn't
throw
even talk about the
off
Dolphins
platform.
side, but
Yeah, so I want to.
we can do that though. I mean, I think we need
Yeah.
to. Go ahead, Chris.
I just want to, on the Chiefs thing, man, I think that's going to be interesting because I remember the day Pat signed his contract. I literally remember saying this out loud. I would be shocked if Pat makes it to year 4 of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I was just thinking that while I was talking.
Like the
structure that to make $1 billion,
if
right?
I'm Pat Mahomes' agent, bro. I'm ripping that in 3 years from now, bro. Quarterback
when he's the 13th highest paid quarterback,
that's what I'm saying. That's why it sounds good, and you can build around him.
It's getting ripped to shreds, though, and he's going to
yeah.
Is what I.
By the way, the Deshaun Watson contract, they removed all the contract forfeiture. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
So there is nothing keeping him from all of that guaranteed.
Yeah,
not a damn thing.
They went full sleazeball, but that's the price,
bro.
Yeah.
Even if he gets indicted, because there's another case out there now. They're saying the language of the contract. There is no forfeitures of the guarantees. Yeah.
They call him the dog pound, but god damn. Holy shit.
Yeah.
For real.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That other case too, Landon, the jury is not going to indict him. So I'm pretty sure he's clear from all.
Oh, so he's officially clear outside of civil court or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But like going back to the Tyreek thing, I think Pat's going to rip up that deal. But another thing, like to y'all's point, it's kind of like I think we all agree Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world. And so then it becomes it's not that we can't afford Tyreek Hill, but it becomes if my quarterback is as good as he is and he's making 45,
yes.
Why do I pay a receiver $30 million a year?
That's what I meant. That's what I was getting to. Yes.
I understand your Tyreek Hill, but I am that good. Not that I can't make anyone Tyreek Hill because there's only one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it just becomes, is there a smarter way to allocate resources on the roster? When you think about $30 million, bro, like the Eagles just signed, and I'm not comparing the two as far as positional impact and how good Hassan Reddick is at his position, but when you really go down any roster, look at what 30 mil can get you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Hassan Reddick's $15 mil a year. He's only counting $4 million on the cap this year. We just signed, hopefully, he hasn't played the down for the Eagles yet, but Kazir White is a starting quality linebacker, which I don't even can recognize in Philly. Like the guy, it's $5 million max. You know what I'm saying? Like just go down the line.
Well, San said it. Shaq Barrett was $3 million, and that got them 16 sacks or whatever it was a year ago.
Exactly.
So
just look at the production. It's not that they can't afford Reek, but it's like, is it really smart with that quarterback we got back there? You know what I mean?
Is it smart business given what we have invested with Patrick Mahomes, what he think he's capable of doing and elevating everybody else around him? That's exactly.
And to your point, now we've got 2 first-rounders.
Yep.
Granted, like first-rounders
they have 29
like
and 30. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. And
29
first-rounders are like cars, right? Like we become obsessed with having a 1, when in reality,
this time of year.
Hell yeah.
Right, but like Philly could make all 3 of those picks, and they could all be bums. Like they could all be Jalen Reagor. Like the pick after it's cashed in is going to look way worse. It's going to be like, oh my God, you traded these 2 guys for Tyreek Hill? Like, what in the absolute hell are you doing?
Yeah, that'll be the litmus test. Will be what happens after.
Yeah, down the road. But to go to the Davante thing real quick, I've got some stats pulled up, man. Aaron Rodgers in his career without Davante Adams, and I'm on StatMuse, so
incredible.
This is accurate. He is 10-1.
Yep.
He has a passer rating, which is a hell of a flawed stat. I hate using this, so I feel guilty even citing this garbage.
Yeah.
His passer rating is 112.7. He has 24 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 11 games without Davante Adams. They're 10-1. So, again, the guy behind center, the back-to-back MVP on my team, for as great a connection as those 2 have, that's the dude that's driving my franchise. So, I understand he's amazing, but do I really have to pay a 29-year-old wideout $30 million a year when I've got 12 back there who's supposed to be the floor raiser? Everyone else around him is supposed to become elite, and he's shown in the stats that I'm looking at right now that it is predominantly him. Like, he is that good.
It is. Yeah, for sure, man.
I would ask.
I just think it's just fascinating to me and they didn't dump him, but I would think even given his age and the contract he got, Like, that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, they're like, oh, my God, you traded a 6th-rounder for an all-pro guard? Like, how? How did they get that for a 6? The contract plays a huge part.
How much money are you incurring? Yeah.
Right, because I got to give you capital, and I got to pay this guy 30 M's a year.
Yeah.
That being said, I still think a 1 and a 2 is, like, too cheap for Davante. Like, he's worth so much more than that to me.
Agreed. Yeah.
But it's just how the business side of the NFL works.
I would ask.
And now the Packers have 2 first-round picks also. Go ahead, Sam.
I would ask, so that 10-1 record is cool, right? But I would ask, isn't it the expectation in the postseason? It's like, I don't want to make always basketball, but isn't it the James Harden thing? Do all you want in the regular season.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the postseason, isn't that where your legacy is made? Where the totality of the move, of the player, of the organization comes to? Isn't it that result? And I think without Davante, I find it hard to believe, considering they just lost to the San Francisco special teams. That
literally the special team.
But Sans, to your point, like,
you know what I mean?
Like, that's a great question. You're arguing, like, don't you need Davante to win the games that matter?
Yes.
But you can take the exact other side of the coin and say, what have we done with him? Like,
you know
right?
what?
Like,
That's yes,
like,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what, Chris? That was a good point.
Bro. Like, I'm glad you segued to that, because it's like, we have the best duo in football.
But that's just how my brain works. I don't ever look at the opposite point of view. I just look at my point of view.
No, yeah, and that's fair. Like, it makes sense. Like, what are you really going to do when you're playing a top-tier defense and you don't have a respectable enough wideout to shade coverage to? But then you can just turn around and, like, what has that gotten you? You got bounced by San Fran special teams, right? Like, Davante can go get his numbers. You lost to the Bucs the year prior. It's kind of like, he is amazing, yeah, but are we not better suited to upgrade from Kevin King? You know what I mean? Maybe get more depth at the receiver position, so where we're not having to only throw at Davante Adams.
Yep.
Right? It just, I think it's a
fascinating. And they lost their technical number, 2A, 2B, whatever, wide receiver 2 with Marquez Valdes-Scantling is gone now. He's actually going to be a Chief. So that leaves them with, they just re-signed Robert Tonyan, their tight end, who developed a pretty good rapport with Aaron in the red zone last year and the year before that. So he's back. And then they got Alan Lazard, who is more kind of like your big slot type guy, but they started to develop a rapport towards the end of the season as well. But that's it. Outside of that, you got Randall Cobb and then Amari Rodgers, who's a special team lifer right now.
Yeah, I mean, bare as hell out there.